Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Propulsion Swimming Podcast. We are now 2 weeks on from the Paris Olympic Games, and on this week's episode we have our first guest joining us from those games, and we've got a gold medalist, Irish swimming sensation Dan Wiffen.
Yeah, Dan Wiffen had one of the best performances ever, obviously from an Irish swimmer. 2 medals. His 800 was a brilliant swim, done an Olympic record in one of the races of the meet, I would probably arguably say. 1500 bronze was also a fantastic swim. Like, so many accolades from Dan, and I'm very happy to get him on.
Yeah, rather than us waffling on about introducing a gold medal swimmer who everyone knows by now, let's jump straight into this week's conversation with Dan Wiffen. Dan, first of all, a massive congratulations on your swims in Paris. It's been, I think, like 2 weeks now. Has it kind of sank in at all at this point?
Yeah, I think so. Yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? We had our homecoming in my town, not in Ireland, but and it was like half the town turned up, and it was pretty cool. I think that was when it was a bit real, and like people taking a lot of selfies and stuff like that. I mean, I was saying actually yesterday, so people send posts to my house, but they don't know the address of my house. You just send it to Ireland's Olympic champion.
Well, and that still makes its way to your house.
My house, yeah.
Okay,
that is amazing. Enough. I mean, you must be one of the most sought after people in the whole of Ireland right now. We were joking around saying you might have the key to the whole country. What's that kind of like?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it is pretty cool. I think I'm getting invited to a lot of stuff, which is pretty amazing. But I think, yeah, it's just cool, and yeah, I'm reaping the rewards, I guess, of Paris.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a lot of hard work that got to this point to start with as well, so it's much deserved. So let's dig into a little bit of the Paris Olympics then. What was it like being at these games? Because your first experience of Olympics was very different from any other in Tokyo, the COVID games. What was the crowd like in Paris, and how great was it to be there racing in front of 18,000 people?
Yeah, amazing. The crowd was like, I'm not gonna lie, I think it kind of made me not want to swim after a while because it was getting so nerve-wracking. I think I walked out in front of it 4 times, and it was like every time I think it was getting louder and louder. And then it kind of makes you like a weird kind of nervous. Like I do get quite nervous for my races, but I like it. But this was like a kind of nerves where I didn't like it at all.
It doesn't come across that way because you do all sorts of like phone celebrations and a lead up to it. Is that a way of calming you down to get over those nerves?
It's a way of distracting me, honestly. Like when I'm in the call room, I'm thinking about my walkout more than the race because I don't really want to be I don't want to overthink things in the call room. I think that's where most people go wrong in racing, is overthinking in the final moments before and then diving in doing something stupid. So my walkouts are there to make sure that I'm not overthinking and having a bit of fun.
It's almost like a trigger for you at this point, like to relate you to you're about to race, but you're relaxing in the moment at the same time.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we could use it as that. I don't know. I don't use it as a trigger. I just use it as like to try and get the crowd on my side.
Yeah,
that seemed to work. To be fair, what was it like with family? Obviously, you had your twin there. You had family there as well. What was that like racing in front of them?
It was so nice. I raced. When was this? I've been racing quite a lot this season. They've been coming a lot, and every time I've won, they've been there. So I've been trying to get them to come to most things.
Good over.
So it was great having them there. I mean, my whole family was there, which is great. Like even all my both brothers and my sister, and my parents, and then some of my friends were there, and a lot of Loughborough teammates came, and it was great. And I mean, I got to see them after both podiums in the crowd, and it got really close, so it was really good. And a lot of Irish people, I would say, like. Ireland had, apart from France, obviously, and the US were the third biggest supporting nation, I reckon, in the building. They're the most amount of flags I saw, anyway.
I mean, Irish sport fans always travel well. Like, we're based in like a rugby town, so we know when the Irish come over here and play rugby, we see it all the time. And I guess in the swimming pool and like that aspect of having fans from Ireland want to go and watch the Olympic swimming, you've played a big part in that. Did you have any pressure leading into the games? Because you had all sorts of achievements going in, like world champion, you broke long course European records, short course world records. like you say, you were nervous before the race, but heading into Paris, what was the mindset like?
Yeah, I didn't have any pressure. Do you know what? I learned a lot from previous seasons of where I went and said things. Like I said, I was gonna win the world champs or whatever. Or I don't think I said that. I said I was gonna medal at world champs and said that I was gonna try break the world record. And like previously, I didn't do it, and I was like, I was a bit annoyed because everybody kind of turns against you then when you say you're gonna do something, you don't do it. But well, I said no, and then I came into this competition. I kind of told everybody I was going to win anyway, in the media anyway. But I think it's completely different because I completely changed how I trained, and like the stuff I was doing in training was just like I've never seen people do in my life, everybody. I mean, you can talk to Andy, you can talk to anybody from Loughborough, and I'll tell you that every session, every hard set I came away with, people would say that they've never seen somebody do that ever, and it's the craziest thing they've ever seen. And I was doing this for 3 times a week, so it was like the most unbelievable training I've done in any season.
Can you give an example of one of those ridiculous sets that you were doing?
Yeah, so we go to Turkey every year, and so probably the hardest amount of training we do. We were there for 2 weeks, and we went for 2.5 this time. And basically, Andy tries to like break her, I guess.
Okay.
And so he'll make up crazy sets. So one of the set. Well, I mean, there's been so many sets, but one of the sets that stands out to me because I've never heard anybody do it before. We call it the Minute Man. So you do 100 sub 60, and then you get a 50 easy, and you get about 20 rest after that, and then you go 200 sub 2 minutes, and then you do 100 easy, and then you keep going up until 1,000. And you got to do the 1,000 at the end, sub 10. And whatever the rep is, so after the 900 you get 450 easy. So it's whatever you get half of it easy after.
Matt,
Yeah,
the problem is now that you're crushing these sets, Andy's just going to come up with more ridiculous ones for you.
Yeah, I know. I think I don't know. Next year, I feel like maybe it will start a bit softer.
Well, maybe.
This year was like very intense. I've never been. Maybe it was a training. I don't know, but I've never been as ill much this year. And then never. I think I've been out of the water the most was this year as well. In terms of injury and illness was a big one this year. I never really get ill, but I was ill a lot this year.
Oh, it's weird, isn't it? It's so strange. Like Tom Dean had that obviously leading up to Tokyo, didn't he? Getting COVID, was it twice, maybe 3 times, and then did what he did. And so maybe illness is the way. That's probably not the message we should be sending here. But
I think it is the whole thing of like swimming coaches, like old ones, don't really want to. Well, not old, but like the ones who still work with the older systems are like, we don't think you should take rest, and they always say like a day you miss in the pool is a week of actual aerobic capacity. And I think that's probably wrong. I think like you can take as much break as you want in the middle in seasons. Like if you're taking like, I mean, I had a period we were at altitude and for 4 weeks, and I think I only did one of the weeks, which was actually like a full week.
Okay.
Really?
The rest of them, I must have taken 10, 12 days off altitude because I was just really ill. So it was like stuff like that. So I think like if your body wants you to recover, then you should probably let it recover.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Let's talk racing in the games then. So your 800 freestyle came up first, the gold medal, Olympic record. Was the 8 more of a target than the 15? Because you've had success over the 8 a lot recently.
No, the 15 was the target, which was probably so going into it, my goal was to medal in the 8 and win the 15, and which was definitely the way I was training was kind of heading that well, I don't know actually, it's hard to say, right, because this training's been so different. So like before I wouldn't be able to go 150 points long course in training, but I was able to push them comfortably at the end of sets and stuff like that, where like previous years I wouldn't. So I would say that would really help my 800 because that's more 800 focused speed. I mean, that's a bit fast for 800 speed, but that was like helping the speed.
Well, not if you're Elijah Winnington, but
and then so I would say that going into it, my focus was to win the 1500. That's my favorite event, so I was like, I want to win that one. But I think the way the 800 was going, I knew coming into I was going to medal, But then when I arrived at the village, I was like, oh, we're winning the 800. I'm ready for this. I think it's also because I knew that the field, I don't feel like it was going to be as fast as what I thought it was going to be. And I think that also affected me because I thought I was going to go way quicker in all my events than what I went.
Okay.
Like I thought 7:38 was kind of slow, but I mean it was a PB
Still
for me. So I didn't complain.
7:38 is pretty quick, you know. We were watching it, and we honestly thought it couldn't have gone much better. Like great tactics going in, like paced really nicely throughout, and then a sprint finish at the end, which we'll touch upon later on as well. But do you think it could have gone any better in your eyes? You say you could have gone fast, obviously, but what areas could be improved?
Race tactics, no. I've stopped doing set race tactics now because it never goes the way I want it to go. I don't know why, but
Okay.
I mean, before the race, I was telling people what was going to happen in the 800, and it completely went the opposite way of what I thought was going. My goal was to lead from the start and then just continue to push on. We'll go out with Elijah, but I just didn't do that, and I decided to work in the middle and then let Greg work again, and then me just take him out on the last 50. So it was like completely opposite what I thought. So I feel like now going into races, it's not really about race plans. It's more about just being ready to adapt in the moment.
Yeah, we saw during, I think one of the plans that we saw unfold during the race was you literally only breathed that side, looking at Bobby Fink and Greg. So that, I guess that was half a plan.
Yeah, that was I'm always doing that now. It just makes it easier for me to look at what's happening, so I don't miss anything.
How do you train that? Because I can only really remember Ian Thorpe as the only other swimmer to try and breathe every other stroke, but to different sides. Like, is that a purpose-built training thing up in Loughborough?
And I'm the only one who does it. Do you know, right? Andy doesn't like it. And
really?
he thinks that I'm faster breathing one to my left. My rate is higher breathing to my left. So it's just is it? Yeah, I actually don't know now. I've actually. But one way my rate is lower because I kick a bit less. I mean, I don't kick really at all, but it's a little less of a harder kick.
Okay.
And I mean, you won't notice it, but so how I train it, I don't really know. I just started doing it from 2023, and because I was getting a lot of pain on my shoulder on one side, so I thought if I can train to breathe both ways, it'll even out the shoulder fatigue, and then I stopped getting shoulder pain because I was breathing to both sides, so I wasn't constantly like overextending my neck when I went to the left. So I think it actually helped that, and then I'm now using it as like an advantage.
But why doesn't Andy like it?
Because he thought I was so one way, but now he's used to it, so now we do it all the time.
Oh, right, so he accepts it now. Okay.
Yeah.
So at what point during the 800 race did you think, okay, gold was on the table? Was it when Paltrineri tried to go and you comfortably stayed kind of within a body length?
This could sound so bad, but I knew I'd won it before I walked out, which is like in my head, like I was winning no matter what when I walked out. Like it's crazy to say. This is like I don't work with any psychologists anymore. I kind of like stopped after 2020. Because after 2023, I feel like they put so many different thoughts in your head that I don't want to listen to. Like they would, like you want to look at other scenarios and stuff like that. And I'm not really a person who likes to do that. I like to just focus on that I'm gonna win, and that's the only way. And like it's quite like I'm sure you've heard Andy on the podcast say that it's hard to change my mind on things. Like if I want to go fast, I'm going fast, even if it's an easy session. And like he has to really force me if he really wants me to slow down and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I am quite hard to change my mind. So when I was at this race, I told myself I'm 100% winning this because I know I'm gonna 100% win because it's like a mental thing. I think in the Olympics especially, like if you got any doubt, you're not gonna win, and I think that's like the hardest part about the Olympic Games is the mental side of it.
Well, they do say it's won with the top 6 inches really when you get to the games because everyone's prepared, everyone's in the best shape of their life.
Yeah, but in terms of like, I knew instead of like saying the whole thing, I think after the first 100 meters, 200 meters, I got into my rhythm, and that's when I started to like when we pulled back Elijah. Even though I wasn't even looking that way, I just knew it was going to happen around 300. That was probably when I knew I was going to win. And then the last 50, I just knew because I've been training like the whole year for like fast last 50s, and to be honest, it wasn't as fast as what I thought I wanted it to be, but it was it kept away everybody else, so it was good enough.
Is there ever like a thought in the back of your head of, Bobby Fink obviously is quite known for his last 50. Did you have to make sure that there was a big enough distance between you and him to ensure the victory? Is that always a nagging thing in your mind?
Yeah, that was the whole race plan when I was in the race, was thinking I need a body length on Bobby and be level with Greg. And then I just say in my head, my brother Nathan says it all the time to me in training, you don't want to get finked. And that's all I'm thinking. In my head, I'm in the race, don't get finked. And then you can see me at last 22 meters, last 20 meters. I just go, I've been training because I don't really have a strong leg kick. And when I sprint, it's actually faster if I spin my arms.
Yeah.
So the last 22 meters, I went 55 rate just to make sure that I could get my hand on the wall. And
we loved it when we were watching.
You were spinning. You were really spinning.
Yeah.
Is that come with some training next to Alex Cahoon in the?
Yeah, he's got a pretty high rate, but he'll demolish me in the pool and any sprinting. No, sadly not.
Let's move on to the 15 then, because that one didn't quite go to plan. I would say the tactics in that race really surprised absolutely everyone, with Fink really taking it from the gun, which is, like we just said in the 800, that isn't usually how it goes. So how do you reflect on that swim?
Yeah, well, I'd say my heats were really good. 1440. It's the fastest ever heat swim in history. And I mean, what a stat, who loves to be the fastest in heat, tell me. But no, I felt really relaxed. I really slowed down. I listened to Katie Ledecky's book before the whole meet, and she was talking about how she likes to break world records in heats. And I was like joking to the coaching staff in Ireland, and Andy wasn't. Andy was only there for the 800 freestyle to go watch. So, but he was watching. He was on holiday with his kids in Florida. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't say Florida, but oh well, I think he's home now. But so he was watching. I knew that he'd be annoyed if I did it. So I said to the coach staff, I was like, oh, we should joke and I'll try to do it. But then in the race, I got to 1,000 and I knew I was on the world record line. And I was like, do you know what? We don't need to do it now. We'll save it for the final.
Yeah.
But in the actual final, so Bobby Fink actually didn't go out fast. I went out slow, I would say.
Okay.
I went out faster in the heats than he did in the final. I think we were actually at the same splitting until 600.
Yeah, I think his last he
negative split.
He equal splitted it, didn't he?
Yeah. So when I slid down the heats is when he saw, obviously because in the final he split. But I made my error. I spoke with Andy after the race about this. So it's about the breathing. So I was breathing right left. Because of the race being on the other side, not the left not the left side of the race, like the 800. So when I dive off the blocks, my rate goes too low if I breathe to my right, and because I was so focused on looking that way, I just got stuck on a low rate, and then it took me it didn't really take me ages to get out of it, but I think it spiked my lactate trying to get out of it. So then I just had to work so much harder to climb back the lead he got, when if I just broke to the left, I would have been out with him. And then also, I didn't notice it until 300, because I think what happened to Bobby with Greg happened to me in the 1500. Sorry, what happened to Bobby with me in the 800 when he got blocked by Greg, so he didn't see me go with Greg. And then Greg blocked Bobby from me in the 1500, so I only saw it at 300 meters. So, but I mean, it was still a good race, and an Olympic medal is an Olympic medal, so I can't really complain.
Yeah, Bobby did say in an interview afterward that he didn't actually plan to do that, hit a world record. He usually does what he does and kind of sits back and then thinks people at the end.
Yeah.
But you kind of said that you don't have a plan heading in per se. You actually kind of adjust in the moment. Is that actually quite easy to do, especially at the start of a race?
It's easy to do when you're so I'd say everybody has a plan until it goes wrong. You know what I mean? I kind of went a bit wrong at the start. So I was literally playing catch up. Then my plan was then just to catch them back, and I was having to split 28. I was splitting 28 8s, 28 9s in the middle, which I mean nobody does, and no surprise because it kills you. And I was just I was hurting so bad by the end that by the time I got to their feet, it was just too much to keep going. And then they pushed on. Bobby pushed on again, so it was just kept going. But to be fair, it was a really good race, and I'm happy to be still on the podium. The 1500 and 800 podium didn't really change, so apart from the placings, which was pretty cool. So and then it was also great to race beside Greg every time. And yeah, I mean, he's like 30 and he's still winning Olympic medals in, like, I would say, a young man's field, because everybody's 24 or below, really.
Yeah, he's still crushing it. It's really good to see. And he's it felt like his swim at World Champs a few years ago really like moved on what distance swimming was. It's no longer this repetitive kind of race until you get to the last 200. He showed that the way to attack a 15 is just go.
Yeah.
Something that's really not obvious when you're sat at home watching that, okay, he's won a gold in the 800, he's now won a medal in the 1500, is that time in between and the amount of commitments that you have as an athlete at the Olympic Games. So how crazy did life get from that gold medal till starting the 1500 heats?
Yeah, I'd say that, like, emotionally, I would say that it didn't take much out of me, because I knew that the 1500 was what I wanted. But in terms of like the social media pressure, and then like in terms of like just looking at it and seeing all the messages was crazy. Like that, I think that must take, like, I mean, then not getting to bed till 3 a.m. and like at least 1 a.m. a lot of nights was pretty bad. And then what I actually wanted to see some of the Olympics as well. Like when you're like, I don't want to go to the Olympic Games, and I know I won gold, but I wanted to still watch the swimming because I'm a big fan of the sport. So I still was like, oh yeah, I need to go see some. And then when you're watching the swimming finals, I got to see the 100 free world record live, so I'm very happy. But you're getting home, and you after the buses and everything, you're getting back to bed, and you're still going to bed at 1 a.m. So maybe if I really wanted to do it perfectly, I would not have done the stuff I did, but I would never regret anything because of that. But and then also the media, like the amount of interviews you have to do and stuff like that. But that's all part of it. And if you don't do the media, you're going to get no sponsorship. So it's like a hand in hand situation. So
I was going to bring up the media because it was pretty much the whole length of the pool, wasn't it? Like 50 meters worth of like constant interviewing. I don't know how many you had to do across the whole length, but it must have been quite a number being Olympic champion.
Yeah, I mean, so for the 800 heats, it takes half an hour to get through it all.
Oh my God.
For me.
Okay.
I don't know what it's like for other swimmers, but I mean, I was going lane 4 into Olympic final every time, so it was half an hour in the heats. After the finals, we're talking the 1500 a bit last, probably like an hour, but after the 800, it was like 90 minutes to 2 hours of just, and I hadn't even swum down yet. And then you got to do a half an hour to an hour press conference as well. So I was swimming down after the 800 freestyle final 3 hours after my race as well, because I'd do drug tests and stuff. Yeah. That was actually a great thing as well to me. They were drug testing all medalists, which I thought was great to see.
God,
definitely on that point of view, but wow, 3 hours. So you literally are getting back to the hotel at 3 a.m, like you said.
Yeah,
that's not ideal.
But to be fair, sorry, a lot of people this Olympics was weird. Okay, so people buy hotels closer to the pool, which I thought was a bit. Well, I mean, they do what they want, obviously. You know, it's their money or their federation's money, but I thought it was a bit unfair because countries with less of a budget or something like that wouldn't be able to do that, and then we're starting to take the hour-long bus journeys where they're taking 10 minutes.
It's that far away.
Oh yeah, it was an hour, and the buses are like inside 40 degrees.
I can't even. Like, I'm just thinking of next Olympics in LA and the traffic across LA to try and get to the SoFi Stadium. I'm not even gonna go there yet.
But to be fair, they have dedicated lanes in Paris, so it's just open lanes all the time in the road. So it wasn't. Hour. It was just so far away. Imagine if it was traffic. If they didn't have the lanes, it would probably take 2 hours.
Oh man, it's this sort of adversity that no one actually. We'd never see this.
It's the recovery. Like, how do you recover after going through the media zone? Luckily, you don't use your legs by standing up for 2 hours afterwards. But the sprinters, obviously, if you're doing like a 200, 400, those guys are going to really start to, ache and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know how you do it. And then is it like, do you do ice baths as well? It's just trying to squeeze it all in, trying to find time.
Well, to be fair, I made sure I did a full swim down and an ice bath as well. But it's like, it's hard to do. I think I learned a lot. I mean, Ireland have never had Olympic champions in recent years or Olympic medalists, and we obviously got two with me and Mona, and it was all very new. I feel like for us in the swimming world. So it was like we were learning, but we do have a lot of experienced coaches like John Rudd. He has Ruta from Olympic gold in 2012, so he knew what he's doing, and he's very good in terms of like making sure we get what we want and stuff like that, and we're doing the right things. And but yeah, I think one of the biggest battles, I think that nobody sees this in the thing, but it's like see when you're in the team areas in the pool, so everybody's all around each other, and like you can just see everybody's like looking at each other before the race. So about 35 minutes before the race, everybody's finished their warm-ups and stuff, and everybody's looking around at each other, see what's happening. And I think that's the most tense part of it. Like, not the call room. The call room's really chatty, everybody talks, but it's like the actual, all the coaches are staring each other out and stuff like this, and I think it's
Oh man, it's like the mental warfare starts really early in the day.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think everybody stares at me because I'm like probably the joker of the whole thing. So I didn't have a speaker, and I just play the craziest music ever on it, like sing-alongs and everything. So I'm walking around with my bucket hat on in the team area, singing songs while the physio and everybody's looking over. I think it's quite funny.
Who put you in charge of the music then?
Yeah, I don't know, but I think they hated my music by the end of it.
Is there any way like you can prepare yourself for this in the future, like LA? Does this sort of happen at Worlds, this level of media and the time between recovery, or is it literally it's the Olympics? This is the only time you are going to face it.
I think it's just the Olympics, honestly. Like, World Champs is obviously quite a lot of media, but I would say there's nowhere near the amount of like newspapers or anything there, because it's. I would say that. Well, I mean, I take it as this way. So I won. Well, if you go on Instagram followers, this is how I judge on how famous the Olympics is. I think when I won World Championships gold, or when I broke the world record at Europeans, I think I jumped 5K Instagram followers, and I think as soon as I won Olympic gold, within 48 hours, I went up 70K. So it's like,
oh wow,
yeah, it's just completely different in terms of like the whole world sees it. I feel like.
Oh wow.
Well, swimming is classed as a once every 4 year sports, which we're desperately trying to change, you know. But the Olympics is the biggest thing by far, obviously. So,
but I feel like for swimming, I think for time wise, I would say the Olympics isn't the best. I'd say that'll be the World Champs. I think it's maybe the best for like for watching the racing, but for like you want to see the fastest times, it would be I'd say at a World Champs when there's less pressure.
Yeah, I think Singapore might be a bit fast next Worlds. Especially with the deeper pool.
Let's hope so, yeah.
The pool makes a difference, because I don't.
I think it only made a difference for the breaststrokers. I think by the end of the meet, that was the only one where everyone else sort of leveled out by the end of the meet.
Yeah.
I think it was people making an excuse because they were so tired from the butters and all the walking and stuff like that. They were using that as like a excuse. That's how I thought.
Fair enough. Let's talk briefly open water, because next week's guest is an open water swimmer specialist. So we will dive slightly into it this week. You said it's your first and your last open water swim. Not going to do it again. Like, I know LA might even be in like a rowing lake. So that doesn't take your fancy?
No, so going into no, definitely, I think that's my last one. I think after me getting ill as well, it was probably going to be my last one too. But I say that, I mean, I really enjoy training with Hector and Toby, so I do. I mean, I thought it was fun just being in a race with them. And I mean, everybody's joking around how they thought I was going to beat Hector and Toby. But I mean, I know how hard Hector and Toby train, especially Hector. That man is so committed. I've never seen somebody who can get in and do 120K weeks by himself.
Yeah, the altitude meters that he did last year was bonkers.
Yeah, I was there with him, and I was getting out after 8K, and he was still continuing on. I just don't know how he did it. Every time he was just continually going fast, more and more meters. And I was just looking at it. I was like, this is crazy. And I've got such a respect for them, because like everybody jokes around saying, oh yeah, you just need to be a fast 1500 swimmer to be good at open water, but it's completely untrue. And especially in that race, I mean, I'm way faster than the whole field in the pool, and there's people there who beating me who don't even break 4:12 on 400 freestyle, and they beat me in the open water. I mean, it's just completely different. It's like a completely different system in your body, and to see Hector come sixth, I thought was amazing. I don't know, I can't speak for him, but I don't think he was too pleased. He wanted a medal, obviously. I mean, we all thought he was very capable of medaling. But I mean, I was proud of him, and I thought that was amazing. And when I got out and saw that he beat me by 6 minutes, I was like, damn, he's fast.
You did have a funny moment in an interview afterwards saying that why am I doing this to myself? I'm Olympic champion. I don't need to do this. Was there a reasoning behind doing the open water? Or was it just to sort of see how it goes kind of thing?
Yeah, I think the interviews after the 10K are probably the funniest thing ever. I'm just so dehydrated and done with like swimming because you just swam for 2 hours straight. You're like, oh, I don't want to do any media. So I think all of my media interviews were more about frustration and me wanting to get home. But I feel like when I said about all that stuff, it's like it was so hard, honestly, in the race, and then when you get punched in the face as well, it was completely different. I feel like as soon as I dived in, I knew it was going to happen. I said to Hector, I was like, what do you think the odds are of people just going for me at the start? And he said, yeah, it's probably quite high.
Are you sure it wasn't Hector?
No, it wasn't Hector. It wasn't Hector. Nowhere near me off the start. Unless you swam over like 10 people. But But yeah, I mean, that was probably the worst part about it because I already had done so much in the pool. And every time, so you come in for the feed or whatever. And then the first 2 laps, I was actually still in the race. There was no gap being built. And then on the 3rd lap, I took the feed and I went to the guy who was feeding me from Ireland. I was like, honestly, like, I stopped and he's like, come on. And I'm like drinking while talking. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I've already won. Let's just get out. He was like, no, you can't get out. Continue on. And every lap I came around, took a drink. He was just shouting at me and I was shouting back. It was so funny. But, I mean, I was with Toby the whole race, which is kind of funny because I wanted to beat him, but I had nothing left at the end, and it was such a good race.
We said that interview was so good afterwards. You're a man who's like, even during this podcast now, you're really open, you're really honest with the media, you have a personality, and you certainly try and get that across on, like, you and your twin do vlogs. How important is it for you to like reveal a little bit more of yourself and behind the scenes of the gold medal achievement and actually your career?
Yeah, I think it's like it's really good. So I think, to be fair, that's just my personality, I would say. I think, especially after the racing, you're like, my interviews are just funny because that's just me and that's what I'd normally say. But and then in terms of like, I mean, the YouTube channel helps a lot, to be honest. I mean, like, people don't even have to do any background on me anymore because they just look at my website or my YouTube channel and then they're like, oh, we know everything about this guy, and like, I obviously did a weekly vlog. It's pretty cool, but. To get the media interviews, I think to be honest, I try to be as funny as possible. They did backfire a bit though because I mean, I read a lot of tweets and stuff like that, and when I got ill after the open water and I said that I was going to party for 3 days and then I didn't end up carrying the flag, everybody thought it was alcohol poisoning, and I was just like, no, it wasn't.
He's been in the river.
But I hardly got one night out because I was ill so much after it. But
Oh wow.
to be fair, I mean, even about being ill, it was like, I don't really care because I got to swim in the Seine, and that's like iconic.
Yeah. Like, you have your own media production company. Where do you want to eventually take that company in the future?
I don't even know, honestly. Like, I'll definitely go into it more after I finish swimming. Like, I still film. I do a lot of stuff for other athletes in Loughborough, like swimmers mainly. I do like I film them reels and stuff when we're on training camps and stuff like that because I mean they want to promote their social media as much as I do, and I just do it for fun because I enjoy doing it. And I feel like we need athletes more profile, I guess. And I mean, I'm great at doing my own, and my whole team as well. Like my manager, my parents are great at helping, and so I'm trying to help all the other athletes in Loughborough get theirs up too. And I want them to start YouTube channels, but a lot of them don't like it because they just like being on mine. So I don't really mind. But I feel like my YouTube channel is becoming a bit of a reality TV show now, to be honest. It's got to have little backstories of different people. And everybody always comes up to me, or when I'm with my friends like Tyler and Ruben, they'll be like, oh, I've seen you on the vlogs. And that's how they're known as being on the vlogs. But it's pretty cool. So.
So what's next? What's happening over the next few months for you, or weeks? Just relaxing out of the pool?
Yeah, so I was told that I wasn't allowed to go on holiday until September by our Olympic Council because of all the media stuff I have to do. Okay. So I'm going on a little tour around Ireland with Lucas, my training partner from Belgium, and Nathan, and then we're going on holiday for the whole month of September. We're going to like Indonesia, we're going to Bali, going to Barcelona with some friends, and it's going to be great. And then I'll start back training in October. I think I might be going on holiday with Hector actually though as well, in Italy somewhere, I don't know. But and then we're going to start back training October. My goal, I think, for next season is not to do any camps, I would say. I want to kind of focus on my studies, I think, because, I mean, I want to be I think Loughborough University also wants me to be that guy who gets a first and wins Olympic gold. But, I mean, if I can get a first, that'll be more impressive than getting an Olympic gold, in my opinion. But yeah, so I go finish my degree out. I've got half a year left. And then hit World Short Course, Singapore Worlds. And then I'll finish in Loughborough, and then I don't see myself leaving Loughborough anytime soon. So I'll probably be there for the rest of my life.
No need. It's clearly working up at Loughborough, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like I was told this by John Rudd, and I thought it was one of the best things he ever said, that you always see athletes who find a bit of success with their coach and then they leave. I feel like he told me that when you find a relationship that I have with Andy, like the coach-athlete relationship that just works, he said it's very rare and you'll never find it again probably, so you better just sticking with it and keeping it going until you finish. So that's what I'm going to do.
I mean, you see it, don't you, with Bowman's just moved over to Texas and like everyone's followed him because obviously it's working for his squad, especially what they did in Paris as well. So yeah, I get that reasoning. Right, we usually finish our podcast with some quick fire questions. You've been on the podcast before, so we know the traditional answers. So we've got some Paris editions for you. Okay. So what was your favourite moment in Paris?
I've got two. I've got my favourite race, and I'll give you my favourite moment. My favourite moment is obviously me hearing my national anthem. Me hearing my national anthem on the podium for the 800 freestyle. My favourite race was the men's 200 fly. That was mental. I'd never seen. I was talking to Leon after, and I was like, that was just crazy. But everybody then says that my 800 freestyle was better than the race. So I don't know. I think they're the two favourite races of the meet in terms of races. So I feel like that.
We need to put a poll out for that one.
Yeah, actually we will, yeah. I mean, when you've got the French crowd and he's doing what he's doing on the final 50, I mean, it must have been the atmosphere. Like, you could hear it through the telly, let alone what it was like live, so... Yeah.
I love the breaststroke going, the whole crowd.
Yeah.
That's really special. Who was the top non-swimming athlete you met in Paris?
Noah Lyles. Met him getting my hair cut.
Nice. We've already gone through your key set that you did in the build-up to Paris. LA 2028, what's your ultimate goal?
To win the Olympics again, and to be on the podium with my twin brother.
Nice.
Ooh,
nice.
Okay. Nice.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast this week. I know you've got a lot of things going on. Enjoy the golf around Ireland and the holidays. And I'm sure we'll catch up with you in Loughborough very soon.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah, massive congratulations again, and we'll see you very soon.
You've been listening to the Propulsion Swimming Podcast with Scott and Dan. We want to thank you for joining us and invite you to subscribe to the show, as well as checking out the Propulsion Swimming YouTube channel for weekly tutorials and videos to get your swimming fix. We will be back next week. Until then, we'll catch you on the next one.